Thomas the Tank Engine was bubbling with excitement. The fat director was giving him a special coach. Your branch line is very important. This new coach will allow more people to come and see it. He was waiting at the junction for Gordon to arrive with his special coach. Henry was there too, and was grumbling. Why do you need another coach? These tourists can just cram into Annie and Clarabelle, can't they? Thomas and his coaches were horrified at the idea. Sir Topham Hatt knows that my branch is important, Henry, and it would never do to make our passengers uncomfortable. Then again, you wouldn't really know about passenger enjoyment, would you? Before Henry could reply, Gordon's whistle cut through the air and he thundered through the station without stopping. Before they could say anything, a loose coach came gliding behind and braked to a gentle stop at the platform. Not a very special coach if its coupling breaks, Henry laughed. Take my advice, Thomas, and send it back. Excuse me, interrupted the coach. My couplings aren't broken. I can slip them off and glide to a halt right in the station whilst Gordon carries on. Non-disruptive and an efficient way of doing things. Hearing this made Thomas pleased. You see, Henry, my branch line has to be efficient. Take my advice and try it. Henry said nothing and flounced away. Thomas chuckled as he collected the coach. Her name was Blakeley, and she came along smoothly as Thomas arranged her behind Clarabelle. The run up the valley began pleasantly, but soon Blakeley became annoyed. She couldn't see any of the scenery stuck behind Clarabelle, so instead she began talking loudly. Do you know, the journey here was quite the sight. I'm sure this branch looks nice when you can see it, but the view on the express is one you simply have to try. Annie and Clarabelle were offended. They loved their branch and wouldn't think of returning to the main line. The two coaches made their opinions well known, but Blakeley didn't listen and continued chatting over them. Thomas didn't mind. He was running on time and was intrigued to hear all about Blakeley's travels on the main line. At the top station, Blakeley was glad when Thomas uncoupled her from the train. But her relief didn't last long. She was shunted into a nearby siding, where all she could do was look at the station yard. Can't I come with you on the return journey? She protested. I'm sorry, Thomas replied. Fat director's orders. You have to wait for your special passengers, and then you can return later. Blakeley was beyond words as she watched Thomas leave with Annie and Clarabelle, brooding all the while. When it was time for her to return home, she didn't come along smoothly. And insisted on being placed at the tail end of the train. Director's orders, she said triumphantly. They didn't have time to confirm with control, so Thomas begrudgingly shunted her to the back. 2 days later, Thomas was waiting at the junction for Blakeley again. He wasn't pleased to see her, but knew he had to wait. "I can't leave my special passengers behind. They might complain," he said. As Gordon passed by, Blakeley appeared, this time going much too fast. As if on purpose, she overshot the platform and stopped on the points leading to Thomas's branch line. They were stuck. Henry had to be called from the big station to move her out of the way. "I thought your branch line was efficient," he laughed. "Where would you be without us bigger engines?" This made Thomas cross. He was still fuming when they finally left. The trip was fine, but they were very late. Thomas was cross. "You are nothing but an old, slow coach." "How rude!" Blakeley spluttered. "I come to your branch as a guest, and this is how you treat me? Shameful! Disgusting!" She wanted to pay them out. On the return journey, Thomas wanted to sing, "Do come along, we're rather late. Do come along, we're rather late." But the old slow coach kept talking loudly over him. At the field station, old slow coach held back as they started. "Come on, you! Come on, you! You're making us late! Come on! You're making us late!" Thomas jerked forward as she released her brakes, and the train faltered away. Annie and Clarabelle were disgusted with old slow coach's behavior. "A proper coach does not play tricks, you know. You've got a lot to learn if you're to work on this branch." "Well," she harumphed, "perhaps I don't want to work on this branch." Without warning, old slow coach bumped and bounced into Clarabelle. She slipped her couplings and began to run loose. Clarabelle's brakes came on with a hiss, and the train slowed dramatically. But old slow coach continued rolling. The guard noticed, her brakes came on, but it was too late. Old slow coach hit the back of Clarabelle with a thud. Clarabelle was no worse for wear, but old slow coach's buffers were bent, and her slip couplings had cracked when they came loose. The guards had to make a temporary coupling between her and Clarabelle in order to bring her back to the big station. When Thomas arrived, he saw the fat director and thought he'd be in big trouble. The fat director wasn't cross with him, but old slow coach. "I thought your special equipment would make my railway more efficient. I can see now that you're more of a slip-up coach, but we can't send you back in this condition. So you will wait until we can figure out what to do with you." Old slow coach gulped, but said nothing. Soon, Thomas got a new special coach. He now has to pick it up from the big station, but he doesn't mind, because his new one doesn't play tricks. For a while after, the big engines enjoyed teasing Thomas about the incident. And what of old Slow Coach? She was soon repaired, but had her slip couplings taken away, and she was sent to another branch. She longs to return to the main line. But I don't think that would have been very wise. Do you?